swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. 9 guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle, soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle, soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
What up, Tone?
What's good?
Going to the Super Bowl, baby. We going to the Super Bowl, baby. What's real with it?
Was there ever any doubt? Was there ever any doubt, big dog? I mean, this is something that we've been talking about for weeks on end.
Man,
you and I have been talking about this, and I've been putting it into the universe, brother. And so many people have been nervous and trying to tell me to take it one game at a time. They've been trying to tell me to be humble. They've been trying to tell me to just don't count my eggs before they hatch. They've been trying to tell me all the euphemisms. They said, be modest, Tone. One game at a time, anything can happen. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Anything can happen. And we showing the league that anything is possible.
Listen, man, every test they put in front of our face. Every test. They said that nonsense when we played Pittsburgh. They said that nonsense when we played Cincinnati. They said that nonsense when we played LA. They said that nonsense when we played Baltimore. And every time the defense shows up. Every time they show up. And then they keep disrespecting our quarterback. He ain't throwing for enough yards. He got to get better. There's a problem with AJ and blah, blah, blah. Well, you effed around and found out, didn't you? How's that knee treating you? That knee was bad. He can't run on the bum knee. Yeah, you effed around and found out, didn't you? Joe Witt running his mouth. You don't treat him like a running back. Well, that's exactly what you did with your 24th ranked run defense. 6 rushing touchdowns. Y'all got anything else to say?
7, I think, actually. I think it was 7.
Yeah, Shipley. I forgot about Shipley. But, man, every test that they had put in front of our face for whatever reason, the Eagles are just not good enough. They're going to have a problem with this, that, or the other. Jalen Hurts ain't going to be able to get it done when it counts. He can't throw the ball like this going into the playoffs and expect to go to the Super Bowl. Well, guess what, suckers? Y'all, make sure I got a real nice one. I got one of them compact vacuum machines. Make sure you vacuum your couch off real nice. Get them leftover snacks from in between the cracks. You want that couch nice and clean when you watching the Super Bowl. Or if you in your hotel room in Cancun, I'm sure they can get the game over there. So, you know what? A lot of smack all during the year. I was loving all the content that everybody was creating this year. I saw the stuff about Chris Canny, and I like Chris Canny on Sportsmanlike, man, but they called him on the carpet. Like, bruh, I got in my notes. I had him as a top 10 quarterback. No, the hell you didn't. Because I saw that show when he said that. He was on with Kim, what's her name?
Kimberly,
I think it's Kimberly A. Martin.
Yes, Kimberly A. Martin. Yeah.
On with Stephen A. And
I remember she finally came around because she was a Jalen Hurts skeptic at first too, but she came around.
I'm not the biggest fan of hers.
I'm not.
She kind of lost me when she was going in on Cam. I was like, you cannot disagree, and you can disagree with somebody without getting disrespectful. And I was like,
yeah. I remember that was a weird moment, but go on.
They he said what he said, and then his producer put him in check, and he was none too happy about that, man. But and then you get all of the I love all of the clips where all you got is receipts. All you got is receipts. And I'll put a little GIF up today, little animated meme. It just had to do just flipping pancakes because everybody was flip-flopping. Everybody was flip-flopping. So I listened to Colin Cowherd, love Colin Cowherd. I've been listening to him for years. He was flip-flopping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody thinks that they have a bead on what's going on. And I keep saying this. Nobody knows shit. Nobody knows anything. Everybody is guessing. They ain't got no more or no less information than we do. Where they looking at the same websites, they talking to the same people. They might talk to the people. We watch the same stuff, put it on their Twitter feed or whatever. We getting the same information. But at the end of the day, they don't know no more than we do. And when you come in a situation like this and you look at you get the opportunity to go back and pull all them receipts, and you look at all the naysayers for whatever reason they had, and it's just like they kept on piling, and they was waiting for him to fall, and they was waiting for him to fall, and they was waiting for him to fall. All them people, with the exception of Bart Scott, and I'm not even a big fan of Bart Scott, that picked Washington with a rookie quarterback and the 24th best run defense in the league to beat the #1 defense and the #1 running back in the NFL. Logic just goes out the door because
a lot of them picked
trying
Washington.
to prove a point, man.
A lot of them picked
A
Washington.
lot of them did. And it's like, what were y'all thinking?
Everybody's always trying to be the smartest one in the room.
Man.
Instead of just, see, football, it should be, but for the most part, football is more simple than people want to make it. People love to overcomplicate a very straightforward game. And what I mean by that is, let's just call it what it is. And we spoke about this. I think I mentioned this when we were talking about the Rams matchup. And the Rams played way better than I thought they would defensively. But my point still stands. Big guys tend to beat up on little guys.
Facts.
Simple as that. This game is not that complicated. I know a lot of these national sports pundits want to pretend like they've cracked the code on the game, and their perspective on this sport is just so profound and unique. And the reality is, this game is really not that complicated.
It's not,
when you looked at the Philadelphia Eagles from top to bottom and how they performed throughout the season and their style of play, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and just how intentional they were with controlling time of possession, creating extra possessions for themselves by forcing turnovers, the way they were scoring, the way they were just controlling and dictating the terms of engagement. And then you compare it to what the Commanders showed you throughout the season, right? They had stretches where they were good, stretches where they were not so good, and they kind of came on close to the playoffs and they got hot at the right time. And at the end of the day, it's levels to this thing, Marcus. Yeah. And for a lot of people to go on national television and pretend like this Washington team was going to come into Philadelphia and find a way to make Saquon Barkley a non-factor, find a way to expose Jalen Hurts, it was the cutest thing in the world. Because prior to this game, all week I kept saying, we're going to have to remind them who they are.
Yeah.
I've been saying it. I love it's important to be confident and have the courage of your convictions, right? Because when you're wrong, all you got to do is say, look, I was wrong. And a lot of these guys are afraid to just say, I was wrong. He proved me wrong.
Right.
You know what they'd rather do? They'd rather say, well, listen, when he performs, we're going to acknowledge how he performs, and that'll change my perspective. So basically, you can never be wrong. That's basically what you're saying. You can never be wrong. Chase Daniel tried to do that today.
There's always a but.
He tried to wax poetic about how, yes, I've been a critic of Jalen Hurts, but I've never criticized Jalen Hurts for winning. I've criticized his play and, his passing performance and all that kind of stuff. And, but he's a winner and all this kind of stuff. And you can't bet against a winner like that. LaShawn McCoy was like, Shady was like,
stop.
Are you doing this on live television right now? Are you doing this? See, and Shady said it. He said, wait, so you get to just criticize somebody all year, and then when they prove you wrong, you get to just say what you just said. So basically, you can never be wrong. You can never be off. Instead of just saying, hey, he played way better than I thought he could play. He proved me totally wrong. I was wrong about this guy. This guy's built for the moment. I can respect that kind of take. I can respect that take. But when you try to spin it like you weren't saying what you're saying all year, even Nacho tried to spin it a little bit. But it is.
Acho was turned into the living embodiment of mansplaining. Like, bro, you don't have to. We understand you got to chill with trying to use all the big words and you saying a lot to, you driving a mile to go 10 feet. You ain't got to do that.
That is hilarious.
And I like Acho, but sometimes it's like
I'm hit or miss.
There is a much easier way to explain what you just explained.
Yeah, I'm hit or miss Show. But as far as this game goes, the Philadelphia Eagles proved exactly who we thought they were, and they reminded us who the Commanders actually were. It's just that simple. And when you think about the way those matchups went, right? I don't want to jump all over the place, right? If you don't mind, we can start on the defensive side, if that's cool with you.
Championships.
I'm thinking about the defense, and I'm saying to myself, okay, when the Commanders and the Eagles faced each other in those previous two matchups, the Philadelphia Eagles managed to force a grand total of 6 turnovers between those two games. 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles. So in 2 games, despite the outcome, you proved that you can take the ball away from this team easily. And you proved that you can force their quarterback to make mistakes quite easily. And you proved that you can take away his number one weapon. We saw that in the first matchup with Quinyon Mitchell versus Terry McLaurin. We saw that, right? And when you watch this game, sure, that first drive was pretty surgical by the Commanders. But if you notice, the Eagles forced them into multiple 4th down situations. And right. I was saying, and I think I texted you this. I think I said, we're winning 1st and 2nd down, no problem. We got to just get off the field in these got to have it situations, right? So they converted some 3rd downs, they converted a handful of 4th downs, whatever it may be. But I'm saying to myself as I'm watching this, I'm like, I like the way our defense is playing on 1st and 2nd down. We're flying to the ball, we're playing tight coverage. Most of the balls he was getting off, they were in tight windows. I like the way our secondary was playing. And as that game progressed, you saw, and the stats will tell you that, their offensive stats, that is, you saw that we essentially neutralized the effectiveness of their wide receivers. Look at the target count. I know you have it on the screen right now. Look at the target count for Zach Ertz versus everybody else.
Yeah, Zach Ertz was the bread and butter.
Zach Ertz was the only person. If you notice, that what that tells me? He couldn't get anything consistently outside the numbers.
Terry McLaurin had 3. De'Ami Brown had 3. Olamide had 4. So it was Zach Ertz and Olamide Zaccheaus.
How many targets did Zach Ertz have?
11. All right, targets 16.
Targets. Look at the targets.
16 to the tight end.
And who's the next closest?
Terry McLaurin with 7.
7.
De'Ami Brown and Zaccheaus had 5 each.
Look at that disparity.
And then Austin Eckler had 7.
Look at that disparity, and also think about how many times he was forced to throw the ball in the game. You saw early in that game that they were trying to win the game by his arm. They didn't trust their running backs in this game. They didn't try to establish an inconsistent running game. They made it very clear that we're going to throw our way out of this game. And I love the way our defense was playing. I love the way our secondary was locking down those wide receivers. Outside of Terry McLaurin's 36-yard, 35-yard touchdown catch, he was a non-factor in this game. A non-factor. And linebackers and defensive line creating pressure and getting sacks. And,
when did he get that touchdown? In the first half?
That touchdown came in the first half.
Second quarter? Yeah. After that, he didn't do much. He didn't do much in the second half. And both of their starting running backs, we forced fumbles. Both of them. Yeah. We got the kick return. We got Austin Eckler, and we got no. It wasn't Robinson.
That was De'Ami Brown.
It was McNichols.
Yeah, McNichols. Yeah. He's on return. He's on a return. Yeah. Scary Terry scored that 36-yard touchdown in the second quarter, and Jaden Daniels had his 10-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. But again, outside of Terry McLaurin's 36-yard pass, if you extrapolate those numbers and you take away the 36-yard touchdown catch, how many yards did he really put up? Let's do some quick math. He put up 51 total yards. 51 minus 36 is 15.
That's it.
You mean to tell me on 7 targets? Well, again, I'm taking away the touchdown and the touchdown catch. You mean to tell me on 6 targets, 2 catches, he only generated 15 yards?
Well,
I thought Terry was scary.
Yeah, he was scary. All right.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, it was a hell of a game, Marcus, by the defense.
Yeah, appreciate you with the super chat, War. He was saying Ryan Clark flipped too. We was talking about everybody flip flopping. How you pick Washington, then come on the air the next day and say y'all forgot who Jalen Hurts is.
Yo,
they was doing that all day.
It was crazy. Like you even had people who were trying to just First of all, you beat this team by 32 points. And you had people trying to say, well, there were moments where it was close and you thought Washington could get back in it. There was, don't get me wrong, there were points where Washington was only down by 2. There was a point where Washington was down by 11, but they tried to act like those turnovers were just the way they spoke. The way they spoke about them. They spoke about them as if like, hey, you can't win football games when you turn the ball over like that. I mean, it's just Washington had no problem really doing what they wanted to do. It's just those turnovers. It's like no. Let's not act like those turnovers just magically happened. We forced those turnovers. We laid down the pain. We was peanut punching the hell out of the football. We was physical. We was the more physical football team. Let's not pretend these turnovers were just happenstance or just bad luck. They spoke about, especially guys like Nick Wright and Chris Broussard. They tried to speak like it was bad luck for them today or yesterday.
Yeah, and Chris Broussard, that's my homeboy, man.
I like Chris.
Yeah, I like Chris too. That's my boy. We grew up across the street from each other back in Cincinnati back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Like I got pictures of him somewhere at my 5th birthday party. That's how far we go back, man.
That's hilarious.
But
that's crazy,
yeah, man. Everybody, but to your point, that's a national show, so they're gonna follow the national narrative. You already know, Nick Wright be twerking for Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just they go by, they want to put the bike together looking at the box. They don't want to read the instructions. You know what I mean? So yes, it does look pretty on the box, but eventually you got to get everything out and you got to get to work and get your hands dirty. And that's what the Eagles have been doing all year. And our defense has been unstoppable. We got six players on our defense. 6 that demand attention. You got Zach Bond and Jalen Carter. Then you got Nolan Smith, not Saquon. You got Nolan Smith, Coop, CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Somebody tried to say Nolan Smith wasn't a closer.
Well, they can say whatever they want to say.
No, but listen, it's funny though, because my man is currently on pace to be leading the Philadelphia Eagles in sack totals for the playoffs. I mean, all time. All time. At first, I thought it was just this run, but it's all time.
Yeah,
he can literally become the all-time sack leader for the Philadelphia Eagles over the course of one playoff run. And he's only in year 2.
One playoff run because he's only
in year 2.
Yeah, he didn't do nothing against Tampa Bay last year.
Only in year 2.
Man, listen, y'all. That's why I watch the TV because I want to be educated on what people are saying because of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, man, you figure out real quick, like these jokers don't know nothing. And we talked about this many times during the season, Tone. Most of them don't even watch the games. They don't even watch the games. So I even heard, and I wanted to get into this a little bit more, Chris Canty talking about the penalty that Louvu got. Like he couldn't believe it. And I was like, well, if you would have watched the game, you would have understood the fact that the first time he was trying to time it. The second time he just did it. He didn't give a damn if he was on sides or not. He was just going to do it. So that's the problem. And if you can't understand that, you just bitching about stuff. And what most people were doing.
And it's funny because, I didn't know that rule was a thing. But the one rule I did know is if you're backed up into your own end zone, right? Let's just say hypothetically you're backed up on your own 1-yard line, and your team, your offensive line gets a false start. You're supposed to lose 5 yards, right? But because you're so close to your end zone, if you get one too many false starts in your own end zone, they will reward a safety to the opponent.
Right.
That's a rule. I know about that rule. So it only makes sense for it to be applied the other way as well. Because it gets to a point where it's like, okay, you can't just keep getting penalties while they're on the 1-yard line. At some point, we're just going to move them into the end zone. If you notice, they moved that ball literally as close as they can move it.
Close as they can move it.
They couldn't move it no more.
And the one point that people were forgetting, they kept setting the game clock. I mean, they kept setting the play clock. They didn't they let the game clock keep running. So they was just wasting time.
Didn't even realize it.
So you know, Hearsay
Another-
Gaming, he must be a Chiefs fan. I'm sick of y'all. I had to listen to all media outlets give Philly 5, 8, maybe 10 minutes of talk after a 32-point blowout. Meanwhile, KC got 20 minutes of praise. I beg to differ because what I watched this morning was just the opposite.
Actually,
I watched about an hour worth of coverage on KC before they ever got to Philly. Philly was like filler.
Okay, so, I think that's what he's trying to say though. Like the fact that like there was significantly more coverage for what KC did versus what the Eagles did, and I noticed it too. I noticed it right away.
Gotcha. Okay, my bad.
I understood why they would start the show with KC. I understood that because the game was more competitive. I understood that part. Starting the shows with KC, but the amount of time they spent on KC compared to the Eagles was alarming to me.
Yeah.
It was so obvious. And I'm like, and also KC is the favorite going into that game. I'm happy about that. I'm actually happy about that. I want them to be the favorite the whole way. The whole way. And I got one last stat to give you about our defense, man. When it comes to that Commodore offense. Let me give you another stat. Did you know the Commanders, through all their games played this year, I'm talking playoffs, regular season, regular season and playoffs, all the games they played against the other teams in the league, they turned the ball over 10 times, right? Mm-hmm. All those teams they played, excluding us versus the field, the regular season playoffs, they turned the ball over 10 times. When it came to the Philadelphia Eagles, and we played them 3 times, this one team over the course of 3 games forced 10 turnovers out of you.
10.
One team versus the field forced 10 turnovers. The field forced 10. Let's just say the 31 other teams forced 10 turnovers out of you total. One team forced 10 turnovers as well over the course of 3 games.
Killing it.
But they thought this game was going to be close. And the crazy thing about it is the Eagles going into the playoffs, they weren't a heater in terms of forcing turnovers.
Yeah.
Like I know it came up in the film. I'm saying, listen, protect the football. This defense is averaging like 3 to 4 turnovers a game right now.
We talk about that in film session. They will slow it down. They will bring out plays, and they will continue to show that and say, hey, this is what they do. This is how they try to poke the ball out. Absolutely, they will do that. Absolutely, they will do that. So they know. Eckler knew. All of them knew. But it didn't matter. When you swarm the ball like that, you trying to keep your leg moving, or you trying to, like Eckler did when he's trying to get a little bit extra, that's when you make those mistakes. And you know what? We made them pay. And that we've been doing that all season, and we've definitely been doing that in the playoffs, man. So guess what? You know what? Once again, y'all effed around and found out. So Hearsay Gamer, we appreciate you, bro. Appreciate the $10 super chat.
For sure. Thank you, Gamer.
Got another $20 super chat. Fanny Eagles fangirl. This one of your faves?
Yeah, love Miss Fanny.
The media will never come to realize the breed of one is not just a slogan Hurts use. It is him. Agree 100%. Until they change the narrative on their narrow-minded view of a typical quarterback, Hurts will forever have them scratching their heads.
You want to know who kept it a buck? Skippy. You want to know who kept it a buck today? Even though Ryan Clark flip-flopped, I loved his assessment of Jalen Hurts. Even though he flip-flopped, he basically said, why do we keep trying to sum it up? He basically says, why are we trying to change the rules for every other quarterback but Jalen Hurts? Like why is it that we assess this one quarterback this way, but it's plenty quarterbacks that we've credited by his own voice, credited for playing the game the way they play it, to win games, not really trying to, win everything in the past, leaning on your running game, leaning on your defense. Why is it that we're able to credit guys like Josh Allen for that? We're able to credit guys like Jordan Love for that. We're able to credit guys like Pat Mahomes for that. We're able to credit guys like Lamar Jackson for that. We're able to credit all these guys with that and say, hey, they're playing the game the right way. They're prioritizing winning. But Jalen Hurts has told us from day one, this is who he is. And we just keep acting like he's supposed to do something else.
That's it.
Why? And and listen, like he even took it a step further. Said, listen, nobody's talking about talent right now because somebody tried to make it about talent. He said, listen, we're not talking about talent. We're talking about the results. We're talking about how they play the game. We're talking about how the game is won, how the game is played. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the reality is, we got to change. We got to change the way we talk. We got to change the way we cover this dude. And I even spoke about, and I even appreciated Jared Orlowski because he even said, listen, Jalen really impressed me. Like, Jalen was, the way Jalen had command of that offense, the way he executed, like, that's the way that's the way I love seeing Jalen Hurts play. And he proved me, he shut me up. Like, I appreciated Dan, and I even appreciated the way he talked about our defense. That defense is in sync, the way they're moving, flying to the ball. It's it's just Jalen Hurts is just a very, very focused quarterback that prioritizes one goal, and that's winning football games. So
everybody wants to put the but. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants
always a but.
They want something else, and it comes down to your point. Everybody wants to see the check marks. Everybody wants to see a bunch of yards passing, and when it comes to, and we got to address the isms. When it comes to Lamar, when it comes to Jalen, when it comes to who else? Kyler. There's always that caveat, like, he's good, but he's not going to win like that. Somebody had a compilation of all of the negative comments about Jalen Hurts. It had to be like right after he was drafted or at the end of his first year.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was like nobody has a legitimate opinion unless you see somebody play. You definitely didn't see enough in college. And then I always go back to the same fact. What about all of these quarterbacks that were supposed to be world beaters and 6'5" and above with the cannon arm and this, that, and the other? They check every box that you want to create, and they ain't sniffed the playoffs. They ain't sniffed the Super Bowl. None of that. None of that. But they don't want to address that. Nobody will address the fact. And I remember going into this last year because we had this, or no, 2 years ago when we went to the Super Bowl. And everybody was still trying to say how much better Josh Allen was than Jalen Hurts. And it's like they got pretty much the same stats around now. And people want to forget all of the trouble that Josh Allen went through before he hit year 3. They wanted to ship him out of town. But that doesn't count because he gets time to develop. Jalen Hurts he sucks. We got to get rid of him.
That's that first round pick luxury. That first round draft pick leash, right?
The leash is long, bro.
When you're first round draft pick, everybody wants to be patient with your development, and they want to continue to pontificate about no, there's something there. When you're a second round pick, they ain't got no patience for you. They ain't got no patience. A lot of people felt like, my bad, Marcus, but a lot of people felt like he was drafted too high in the second round.
Absolutely.
Like, what?
I applaud you, because I remember hearing they could have got him a little bit lower. They could have waited around. They could have waited around and got somebody better.
Why wait? If you know who you want?
That's what you. But shout out to Howie Roseman, the Wizard of Philadelphia. Shout out to Howie did it again.
And another thing is, you can talk about talent and how pretty somebody throw a football all you want.
All day.
At the end of the day, that's not how the game is won. The game is won in crucial moments and high leverage situations. The game is won on third down. The game is won in the red zone. The game is won on defense. Like, my thing is, I saw so much babying and coddling for Josh Allen today. We feel bad for him, man. He's a victim of the Patrick Mahomes era. It just seems like there's nothing Josh Allen could do. I feel bad for that guy, man. I just feel bad, man.
Oh yeah. He's haunted.
He's haunted by the ghost of Patrick Mahomes. It just seems like no matter what he tries, he just can't get over the hump. And my thing is, hold on, wait, did he not have an opportunity to win that game with, I think, 2 minutes left? They were only down by 3.
But he kicking his ass in regular season. He jacking up Mahomes in regular season.
It's cute, right? So what do you know what that tells me? That tells me, oh, wait, Josh Allen, for all that talent that people want to talk about, he's not somebody you can depend on or expect to take over in high leverage situations.
Oh, and let's not forget, he got his coach fired last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got his
And,
coach fired.
and you know what they tried saying about that Buffalo team after that Chiefs loss? You know what they tried to say? They tried to say, yeah, man, you know, their play calling lacked creativity. And, you know, I'm like, whoa.
Man, yes, that last play he heaved it up. But damn it, his guy had a chance to make that catch.
But also,
and what that comes down to is
that wasn't an easy
players
catch.
make big time plays in big time games.
That wasn't an easy catch.
Should have.
Because he had no right. Yeah, he like the way he had to come back for that ball. That like that was a prayer ball. And I know a lot of people want to say, you know, yeah, his weapons let him down. No, bro. Like, first of all, he missed Shakir wide open on his left, wide open. He was he got flustered. He got flustered by the blitz. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. Like I'm tired of guys trying to change the rules for these other quarterbacks and hold Jalen Hurts to this impossible standard. But it's okay. Don't matter. Jalen Hurts is in the Super Bowl. And he's proven that no matter what you feel about his skill set, he knows how to win football games, high leverage football games, important football games. Come on, man. I don't care how talented these dudes are.
Or let's say that Buffalo lost because they couldn't figure out how to run the brotherly shove correctly.
Yo, my God, that was a narrative today. I was rolling.
Like, bro, you 6'4", man.
Colin Cowherd tried to say, yeah, that play is just perfect for Jalen Hurts. You know, it just, you know, I don't like the play, but you know, it just seems like, you know, Josh Allen, the way they do it is just so reckless, no creativity. You know, it's like it's a QB snake. It's a QB sneak. There's no real creativity behind it in the first place.
None. We just figured out a way to our wedge is better than y'all's wedge. That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? And again, ain't nobody saying that when we didn't make it. The few times that we didn't make it, and I don't understand because it just doesn't look like that way to me. But they showed Bengals wrote the blueprint on how to stop that play, and ain't nobody matched what the Bengals did. The Bengals legitimately stopped us, and the strategy for stopping us was sound, but nobody's duplicated what they did. Everybody's still lining up and trying to go straight down to dig the legs out. That's not how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you do it. And on the flip side of that, I'm looking at Sirianni as like, why all of a sudden we start going straight up the middle when we run the push? Slide to the left. The gap is to the left. That's the weak point. It's always to the left. But if you see how they line up, if you look at one of the replays on YouTube, they always give you that top-down view. And there was always a gap, about a half a man outside the defensive tackle. And usually Jalen Hurts slides to his left and they push him right through that gap. Every time he tries to go forward, that's when they get him. But you know, I ain't gonna say it because I know the secret to stop him. I don't even want anybody to watch this podcast and get an idea. But sure. I know how to stop it. But nobody's not thinking logically. And even if you know how to stop it, that means you still ain't gonna do it every time. It just makes your chances a little bit higher.
Exactly.
So go back and watch that Bengals tape. It'll show you all you need to see. So shout out to Hearsay Gaming for another super chat for $5. Just saying, in 17, New England was on that three-peat run and had to face Philly. And what happened now? KC is on theirs. Philly can repeat as three-peat shut down. I like that. Shut them down.
Yeah. You know who I want to show some love? I want to show some love to Jordan Davis.
Big time.
Jordan Davis, you know, he only played 13 snaps. But in those 13 snaps, he only played 13 snaps. But in those 13, listen, Milton Williams and Moro Ojomo have just been relentless. Man. But Jordan Davis, 13 snaps, but on those 13 snaps, 3 pressures, a sack, a batted pass, and a defensive stop. I mean, way to maximize
that line, bro.
Way to maximize your opportunities, man. He's a big body. The way he leaned on Jaden Daniels was, and the timing of it was perfect.
Yeah,
he leaned on him, man. When a guy like that gets you, you're not getting away from him.
He man, and I'm saying this coming from, you know, I played with Seth and Byron Evans and Clyde Simmons and Willie T and Eric Allen and Wes Hopkins and Andre Waters. Like, I played with the last piece of that gangrene defense after Jerome Brown died. I was a part of that squad.
Wow.
So I know what it means to have a good defense and a defense that people are scared of you. And it ain't nothing but the utmost respect for what you can do on that field. People tend to forget because every time they see Seth is sitting down in the chair commentating or something like that. I don't think people really understand how big and fast Seth was.
Whoa.
Seth was like 6'3", 6'4", and at the time Seth had to be like 235.
I used to work with him.
240. Man, Seth could run, bro. Seth could move. And then you talking about, everybody is Willie T size now because Willie T was about 225, 230, but Willie T was a damn wide receiver at linebacker. But just the speed and the strength, and then if you want your traditional like Mike linebacker, somebody like that, you had Byron Evans. That was big as a damn house, man. But that defense, man, was so tough. And to see us get back to that, we had a piece of it. It came back when Trot was here. But the year we won the Super Bowl, I don't think our defense was that tight because we outscored them. We didn't. We got it. We made the plays when we had to make the plays.
Yeah.
But I think when that defense, when B-Dawk and Trot and all of them were in their prime, that defense was really good. But what we got right now is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Nobody thought in your wildest estimations and dreams, nobody thought Jalen Carter was going to be doing what he was doing. You were just hoping that he wouldn't get himself into trouble. Nobody saw this coming. Jalen Carter is so far past expectations, it's not even funny. And then you can say the same thing about Quinyon. And then you can say the same thing about Zach Barn. And then you can say the same thing about Cooper DeJean. And then you can say the same thing about Nolan Smith because he finally came into his own when everybody was trying to call him a bust last year.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's forgotten the concept of development. And we got it. And on top of that, we got a coach that everybody wanted to get rid of. But you gotta let it marinate a little bit sometimes. You gotta let it marinate. And now all of that crap he was talking from that very first press conference when he was talking about planting flowers and letting the roots grow. Now them roots is done taking hold and they deep. That tree is gonna be wide and it's gonna be hard to uproot it. So
Nolan Smith is second all time in sacks for the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. Second all time. He's only behind Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham is number 1 with 5.5 sacks. But peep this. Brandon Graham, those 5.5 sacks came through 11 games. Nolan Smith got those 4.5 sacks through 4 games.
4 games.
He's going to, at the rate this defense is progressing and the way we expect this team to always be in it, Nolan Smith is going to crush this record and probably hold it for a long time.
Yeah.
Hold it for a long time. And again, he's only in year 2. And you mentioned just how so many guys were playing just out of their minds this season. I want to give you some PFF grades from that game, right? In the NFC Championship between Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, right? And this is their combined grade. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean combined for an 89.8 coverage grade, allowing only 42 yards, getting one interception, 2 forced incompletions, and allowing a 30.6 passer rating.
Defense win championships.
Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell were playing out of their minds. And what Quinyon Mitchell did to Terry McLaurin, listen, I'm curious to see. I'm going to be watching that matchup for a long time. We're going to be watching that matchup for at least maybe the next 4 or 5, 6 years, depending on how long Scary Terry still, depending on how long he plays. But Quinyon Mitchell, as of right now, he's up on Scary Terry 2-1. He's got him 2-1 because in that second game, Terry beat him deep, but he's up on Terry. And the thing is, when he's locked down Terry, he's locked him down.
And every game he plays, he just gets better.
He gets better and better. He's actually
better
because remember Quinyon had that stretch, maybe that 2 or 3 game stretch, towards the end of the regular season where people was like, "Hey, are people starting to attack him now?" Because remember
they were for a little bit.
Yeah, because remember they started attacking him at the beginning of the season, and then they tapered off, and they said, "Oh no, he's good." And then they started testing him deep, and he gave up a couple. You know what I mean? Gave up a couple touchdowns, whatever. But then come playoff time, he's been locked down. Whatever rookie mojo or jitters that he had to experience, him and Cooper DeJean got them out the way.
Right, because I was just about to say Cooper DeJean. I think it was the Cincinnati game. Because the Cincinnati game was when that tight end went off.
No. Okay, so you're thinking about Cooper DeJean's welcome to the NFL moment, basically. That was the Panthers game. Adam Thielen gave him work.
Yeah, he had 2 games where they probably got the best of him, but again, you know they got to take their lumps. But at the end of the day, when you look at the macro, we good.
I think the Bengals game, the Cincinnati game, was actually Cooper DeJean's coming out party because remember he got that big stop on Jamar Chase on 4th and 1.
Right.
That was when everybody was like, "Whoa, who is this dude?" And then the following week, I think we played the Ravens, right?
I just remember that tight end from the Bengals was killing us. Now I don't know who was guarding him. I know he killed us.
He was killing. Was it Blinken? Like I don't think it was. Let me just look up his coverage grades from that game. I could easily find it.
Yeah, because it would have had to be because it all depends on what defense they playing and where they got them lined up.
Right. So Cooper DeJean's coverage grades.
If it was the tight end, it may have been N'Kobe and Zach.
Okay, summary.
While you look that up, David Turn says, "Great show, laughing at ESPN trying to cover themselves on the Jalen Hurts takes from the past. He gets no credit for switching the play at the line to Barkley to take advantage of the defense." Dan Orlovsky, like we mentioned before, brought that up, and he's brought that up a few times. But to your main point, you are 100% correct, Dave.
Okay, so Cooper DeJean's
what's going on, Peter Riley?
In the Bengals game, he was targeted 6 times. Gave up 4 catches for only 17 yards.
Right.
With a 70.1 passer rating allowed. So he was pretty good in that Bengals game, man. I mean, again, his worst game arguably was that Panthers game. The way Adam Thielen was as far as passer rating goes, his worst game was the Panthers. He gave up a 102.8 passer rating.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he took his lumps. Took his lumps. What's going on, Peter Riley? Fly Eagles fly. Appreciate you, bro. Carlos said, "Gentlemen, salute." In the words of Cat Williams, you shouldn't have been talking shit.
Yo, facts, man. Facts.
Glaze K. Yeah, they definitely twerking for KC for sure. For sure.
Man.
So we gonna do that belt to ass, man. We got something for him, man.
You know what's funny though? The way they was talking today.
Appreciate you, Carlos.
The way they was talking today about this upcoming Super Bowl, man. They talking like we didn't just do what we did.
Exactly.
That's what's really alarming about it. And I kind of like it though. Because what's going to happen is we're going to see a repeat of what that Buccaneers team did to the Chiefs.
Why do they keep doing that?
In the Super Bowl.
Why do they keep making us an underdog?
I'm telling you, listen, I'm getting ahead of it, right? You heard it here first, you guys. You heard it here first. The Eagles defense is going to hold that Chiefs offense to under 24 points. You heard it here first.
Let's do it.
The Chiefs aren't scoring more than 24 points. You heard it here first. Listen, I've been killing my predictions lately. As far as like just how far we go and just, what I expect. Like, I'm feeling it.
Speaking of which, what time is it?
That Chiefs offense is not getting more than 24 points. I promise you that.
I had a prediction. Let me say this out loud because I'm going to forget to say it later. And I said this yesterday after the game, but I couldn't find it because I was trying to make a video about it, but the stream went so long I couldn't find it. But my prediction was that Kellen Moore will not leave New Orleans.
They're actually coming to Philly, I think, this week, tomorrow, this week to interview him.
Yeah, I think they're gonna solidify him. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Isn't it hilarious that every time, like last 2022, we went to Arizona, Gannon didn't leave.
Yep.
Now, or New Orleans, Kellen not gonna leave. He's gonna sign on with New Orleans. This is like his third interview, I think.
Yeah.
He's going to New Orleans.
Why can't we get? I want us to get an offensive coordinator that's gonna stay a while. We need to get one of them old.
You gotta get old. You gotta get OG. You gotta get
we need
OG.
to get somebody. Need to get somebody like Vic Fangio. That's like I ain't going nowhere else.
You gotta get an OG. I'm telling you, because like when you got these young, ambitious guys, you know, first of all, it's not like the old days where guys, you know, they were staying in their role for a while. Like you're not gonna see that anymore. These young guys are ambitious. They're jumping at the next head coaching job that they can find. And honestly, that New Orleans job is really not that desirable, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's really not that desirable.
But this kind of takes me back to last year. That's why I wasn't feeling what happened with Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson, maybe eventually he'll be a head coach. But in my opinion, he might be, I don't know, 4 or 5 seasons away. So we could at least have had that familiarity, and we could have had one coach in place for the next couple of years. In my opinion, that's why Mahomes is so good, because he only dealing with one person. You know, they might get, you know, you had Bieniemy, and I forget the dude they had now, but everybody knows that's Andy Reid calling that offense. Right. So he's had one coach to coach him. And that makes a difference when you ain't got so many voices in your ear all the time. And when you do get another offensive coordinator, he just regurgitating the stuff they learn it from Andy. So again, that's a credit to Jalen Hurts, because he didn't. At the end of this year, it's going to be how many offensive coordinators he's had? 5 in 4 years.
Oh man, that's a good question. So Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, Kellen
3 and 4
Moore,
years.
Then new guy, that'd be 4.
So it'd be 4 and 5 years.
4 and 5 years.
Next year will be his 5th year, right?
He's in his 5th season now.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So yeah.
But technically this is his 4th season starting.
Right.
So,
but it's still too many damn offensive coordinators.
Absolutely, man.
Let me be honest with you. Cliff Kingsbury made the right move, because he's gonna stay there with Jaden Daniels, because that's the smart move.
It is a smart move, and I think Cliff, as of right now, isn't the most. See, when you become a head, when you already have that running back and head coach, it's kind of hard to get that stain off you a little bit. So you got so him sticking around in Washington makes a lot of sense. You know, you stick around Jaden Daniels long enough, they're going to start to equate his success, or they're going to start to equate your success to his success, and eventually a team is going to want you to become their head coach, and then you're probably going to have a top 5 draft pick at that team.
That's
you're going to find your quarterback, and so on and so forth, right? But again, I mean, we've seen
stick around a bit. You got to stick around for a minute.
Yeah, but I also think there are some guys who are just better served as coordinators. I think Cliff Kingsbury is one of those guys.
Yeah, but they're gonna take their shot though.
Of course, he's gonna take his shot. He can definitely gonna take his shot, but I just think there are certain guys that are just better suited. I don't think he has the way things transpired in Arizona. I wasn't really a fan of it because, and again, I'm not saying Kyler Murray is just the easiest person to deal with, but we've seen the opportunity he had with Josh Rosen, right, and then Kellen, and then Kyler Murray, and he couldn't take them to the next level. Like, and that's why I love Nick Sirianni so much, because it's more than just the X's and O's. You got to be a leader of men. You got to be somebody that your players can, fall on the sword for, right? You feel what I'm saying? Like you got to be somebody that can motivate them, inspire them, somebody that they feel like they can talk to when things get a little tricky. Like, I think those are the intangibles that Cliff Kingsbury is missing. I really do. You know, and this may sound shallow, but I knew he was funny money when he became the head coach of the Cardinals, and he was doing and it was draft night. He was in that big ass all white house with the big glass windows, sitting on an all white couch.
I forgot about that.
When I saw that, I was like,
I forgot about that.
when I saw that, I was like, oh, he's just Hollywood. He's just big time. He's not. I don't take him seriously.
I forgot that was him.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure he obviously knows X and O's.
Was that COVID? Was that a COVID year? Is that why he did that?
I think that was the COVID draft. I think,
but because I remember, I was like, "What are you shooting? An episode of Dallas? Like, what's
it just
going
looked?
on?"
It looked so superficial. It looked so performative, so propped up, like
it looked so staged.
Yeah, it looked so staged. Like, and to make it even funnier, right? He again, all the all white house, the white furniture, the glass courtyard. I mean, the glass windows, the big with the grass courtyard with the cement little squares, separating each patch of grass, and then this motherfucker thought he was so cool. He only had like one laptop open and like a piece of paper. Like, it was just he just looked so superficial.
It wasn't a good look.
I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. It was something Dallas Cowboyish about it. It was just something like, matter of fact, it reminds me of, remember when Dallas, or I don't know if they do this every year, but Dallas, they, from what I could tell, or from what I remember, they hosted their draft war room was on Jerry Jones' yacht. Remember that?
Vaguely. I don't remember what year that is, but I know what you're talking about.
It's just those things that teams do that just don't. I can't take you seriously.
Right. I totally get what you're saying.
The Eagles' war room just looks like a conference room. You know what I'm saying? It just looks like your standard conference room.
Exactly.
I don't like when guys get too, like, Cliff Kingsbury made me feel like, oh, he thinks he's bigger than the brand. He thinks he's bigger than the team.
Yeah, exactly. So that's funny. How y'all feeling about rematching KC? We feel fine about rematching KC.
I feel good about it.
If you want to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. Facts.
I feel more confident now than I did before.
Ever. You think this is the best 53 ever? You think this is better than 17?
See, they call me simple, but it's hard for me to say that if you don't win it.
Facts. Good point.
Call me simple, but if you don't win it, how can I definitively say that?
Let's just throw the caveat in there on paper.
Yeah, on paper for sure. On paper for sure. I mean, the combination of offense and defense. Like, here's the thing, right? You may be able to find more talented individuals on different rosters in the past.
Right.
But as far as top down, position for position, and then when you're able to still maintain continuity after losing to Kobe Dean with a guy like Oren Burks, right? You're able to maintain some level of continuity if one of those corners go down with Isaiah Rodgers and whatnot. Like, when you have that, when BG goes down, you got Jalen Hunt who's making an impact. Maybe he's not getting all the sacks, but he's getting a sack here and there. He's getting pressure, and he's athletic. So, like, when you have a team that doesn't really suffer too much of a drop off after losing key players in different moments, you have to look at that team as like, whoa, like, not only they're definitely the deepest of all time for sure. But I can't definitively say they're the greatest or the best until they win it all.
That's fair too. That's fair.
And when they win it all, I'll say that no problem.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Blunt. AJ Jones, I'm a little behind on the stream, but if Kellen can lock the fuck in, we win. I won't be mad if he got the New Orleans job. The Gannon PTSD got me nervous for the next game.
AJ, I feel you on that. I'd rather him get the interview done now, though.
Yeah, and he will. He will in the they're gonna treat this week like normal. Tomorrow's gonna be, that's the NFL's day off, so they're gonna have tomorrow off. I'm sure they was in there watching film and treatment and all the normal stuff, walk through. They probably watched a lot of film today. Tomorrow they're gonna have off. They might even give them Wednesday off, but I don't know. I would expect Nick to keep everything the same. Keep your schedule exactly the same. Don't change nothing. Don't get new. You know, if you got some guys that want to come in and watch a little bit more film or things like that, usually in weeks like this is where the team tends to get together on their own and say, hey, we're going to all come in and watch film together. Like, things like that seem to happen in a week like this. But for the most part, the schedule is going to be the same. Then when they go next week and they travel and you got all of these media responsibilities, that's when things get a little wonky. It was very interesting what A.J. Brown said. A.J. Brown was like, He said the first time he felt like a tourist. Everybody was telling him where to go. And this time he'll be a little bit more reserved and he understands what to do and what not to do so he can navigate a little bit better. And that's a very interesting thing because you got a lot of stuff going on down there and people trying to pull you in 8 million different directions.
People want to talk to you, people want to interview you. And the thing is, you have the right to say no.
You got a right to say no.
And you know what's so funny? You want to know who handled it the best that I've ever seen in my life?
Who?
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah.
His first Super Bowl. I mean, he ain't been there before.
Yep.
My man had the black beanie on, the black Scully on. I'm talking the ones you buy from the corner store for like $2.
The corner store, yeah.
You know what I mean? he had the black Scully on.
Give me that black Scully in the burrito.
Had his team journey, had his team jersey on with the all black shades.
Yeah.
And the reporter was talking to him, and he was like, honestly, I don't see why we couldn't have played this game in Philly. Like all this is pointless to me. This bullshit to me. You know what I'm saying? He said, and the reporter's trying to do his job, obviously. The reporter's like, hey, how does it feel to play out in Minnesota in this weather, man? He was like, we're playing indoors. like he was so zeroed in.
Yeah.
And the fact that these guys have been here before, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson obviously has the experience. Jordan Davis is it may not get talked about, but Jordan Davis has been here before. Darius Slay has been here before. CJ GJ has been here before. Reed Blankenship has been here before. Who else? Josh Sweat has been here before, right? Milton Williams has been here before. Kenny Gainwell has been here before. Cam Jurgens was on the roster at the time. He's been here before, I believe. Who else has been here before? Mailata has been here before. I think Landon has been here before.
Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Jalen, and I know I'm sure there's a backup that I might be forgetting.
Jack Driscoll has been here before.
Driscoll, yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
But my point is, like, you have Tanner McKee has been here before, like, or not?
Yeah, no. Last year was Tanner McKee's rookie year,
right? So, what I'm trying to say is, right, you have a handful of guys, young, midway, and old, who have been here before, and I got a strong feeling these guys, because they know how, the way they've been playing and the way Vic Fangio carries himself as well, and Nick Sirianni being here before, I don't think they coming into this thing wide-eyed. I really don't.
Not at all. I agree with you 100%. I agree with that 100%, man. Hey, thanks, AJ.
Goddard's been here before, right? He had a great game, by the way. A great game.
Yep. Davon Tyree says, I know this ain't nothing to brag about, but we just sent Zach Ertz packing. Send Zach Ertz home, and we got to send Carson Wentz. Many storylines.
Hey, Davon. Hey, Davon. I'm sorry, but I could brag. I'll brag about it. I'll laugh about it. We sent Zach Ertz ass home. We sent his ass back where he belonged. You know what I'm saying?
Best thing about Zach Ertz was his hug with Fletch.
Listen, I got love for Zach Ertz. I got a Super Bowl 52 Zach Ertz jersey in my closet. You know what I mean? I got love for Zach Ertz, man. That's my dog. But guess what? You were the opposition. You are the opposition. And he talked about he's not retiring. He plans on coming back. Hey, you're an op. You're an op until you retire.
It's all good. We'll see you when you get in the Ring of Honor. We'll see you.
I'll love you up when you retire, brother. I'll love you up. But you're an op. And until further notice, I don't know you.
We can give you a good letting alone.
I don't know you.
Thanks, Davon. Oh my God, that's crazy. Tiffany said we going to the Super Bowl. Facts.
Hell yeah, Tiffany, believe that. Believe that, dark chocolate. Believe that.
Yo, did you hear Seth's on the radio today?
I meant to click on it. I've been watching so much content today.
Yeah, me too.
I caught
a little bit of it.
I saw, but I didn't get a chance to click, like actually watch it.
He said something. He didn't come up with it, but he just reminded everybody that Jalen Hurts is the first quarterback to go to the Super Bowl and lose and get back
since Jim Kelly, right?
Yes,
Jim
Kelly 4 in a row.
It's been a curse. It's been a real curse. Like
kicker.
guys that go, they don't really get back there. It's been a curse.
The biggest name is Dan Marino. Dan Marino went early in his career. His rookie year, I believe.
He goes rookie year?
Yeah. Never went back.
Didn't even get
Never
close.
went back.
So they want me to be concerned about my guy.
Nah.
They want me to be concerned about my guy when no matter what y'all may say about his skill set, no matter what y'all try to say, oh yeah, he's carried, he got all these guys around him. Remind me of a guy who gets it done with popsicle sticks and shoestrings. Like you need to have guys around you, right? I mean, y'all was loving up Jaden Daniels, and now all of a sudden he ain't got nobody. Now all of a sudden, they're a rebuilding team. Y'all wasn't talking like that.
Not even close. Not even close. All they were doing was looking for excuses.
And I love what Texas Eagles say here.
Everybody in the media was ready to pounce if somehow, some way, Washington would have beat us.
They had it loaded in the clip.
Man.
Because you know what they've been doing?
And ready to fire.
They've been planting the seeds since the playoffs started.
Yep.
They've been planting the seeds. This Eagles team, I don't know if they can win the Super Bowl with this passing game. Where is this passing game? Is this going to hold them back? They've been planting the seeds. They just been waiting for us to fall. And guess what? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not.
Hey, make sure y'all smash that like button.
For sure.
We got a lot of people on the stream.
For sure. Y'all smash that like button.
Tone rocking with about 300 and Tone looking like you got 350 right now.
349. Yeah. Make sure you guys smash that like button.
Smash that like.
As a matter of fact, make sure you guys go lock in on my man Pro Fan Talk side, man. Go spread the wealth, go spread the love if y'all can. Make sure you guys go smash that like button.
Hey,
on Pro Fan
you
Talk.
know what you can do? You can open it. You can duplicate your tab in your web browser.
Sure can. And
you can have two channels open at the same time.
Sure can.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
No, listen. That's funny. I got yours open right now.
Yeah, I got mine open on the podcast, and then I got my Mac going over there. So
I always wondered: are they counting it by the device, or are they counting it by the accounts?
They count it by the account. So what you do is, I got more than one account. If you got a different Gmail account, you just log in, or you don't log in at all. And if you don't have to have an account to watch,
right?
But if you don't have an account, you just can't get in the chat. You still get counted for the view, but if you watching and you're not logged in with an account, you can't join the chat.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to log. I'm about to because I got a few YouTube accounts as well, so I'm about to have you on my laptop, and I got you open on my desktop too. So yeah, make sure you guys spread the love, spread the wealth. Make sure you guys smash that like button, man. Smash that like button. It's funny, man.
We're gonna be having the next 2 weeks. We're gonna have Super Bowl content every day. If
buzzing.
Tone ain't on, I'm gonna be on.
Buzzing. So we're gonna be buzzing, y'all. Like listen. Here's another thing, man. Y'all, I need Eagles fans to hear me out when I say this, and I mean no harm when I say this. Some of y'all is acting real soft, real scary, talking about one game at a time. Some of y'all are just too nervous for me, man. Y'all too nervous. I'm sorry. We've deserved to be here. We have put in all the work to be here. We've watched this team all year long, and all they've done is get better every single game. They upped the ante, especially this defense upped the ante in the playoffs. Like seriously, they've upped the ante. They've forcing turnovers left and right, because during the regular season, it was all about the yards. They was keeping yards off the board. They was keeping points off the board, and they're still keeping points off the board. But you've had some games where they've get up some yards, but they've forced a lot of turnovers, and they've kept points off the board. You held Green Bay to 10. You held the defense held the Rams to 20. I'm not counting that safety. They held them. They held that offense to 20. They held the Commanders to 23. We've held all three of these teams to below their season averages as far as scoring goes. I'm saying it now. I'm putting it into the universe because I believe it's going to happen. The Philadelphia Eagles defense will hold Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense to under 24 points. You heard it here first on Pro Fan Talk and Chalk It Up Sports, the network. You've heard it here first. If anybody tried to say you didn't hear it here, you heard it here. clip it, do whatever you got to do about it, save it, whatever. The Philadelphia Eagles defense will hold that Chiefs offense to under 24 points. Book it. Book it.
Chaotic Green says that's why we had only 8 minutes of coverage. The national media had to scrap all of their graphics.
Yo,
had all their segments planned in
that's
Washington
funny,
theater.
Chaotic. Maybe you're onto
Probably-
something. You know who
probably
pissed me
right.
off today? You know who
Probably
pissed me off
right.
today, and they normally don't piss me off, bro.
Who that?
Good morning, football. They
Yeah,
normally,
that's what
they
I was watching
normally
this
don't.
morning, and I'm a big fan of Jamie Erdahl.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Kyle Brandt. You know, Peter
Kyle
Schrager,
Brandt,
like,
Jamie Erdahl, my favorites. The other dude, he just get on my nerves. I
You
forget
talking Schrager?
the one. Nah, what's the other?
the guy. Oh, you saw the new black guy they try to replace Nate Burleson with
Nah, not him. He cool. The other studio dude.
Peter Schrager.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he gets on my nerves sometimes.
What? White guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Schrager. It's Kyle Brandt and Schrager. So
right. Okay. Yeah. He annoys me sometimes.
But it wasn't something they said. It was what the graphics people do. Because here's the thing, right? I be feeling like the narrative goes beyond just the talking heads. The narratives permeate within even the producers and the people who do their graphics.
I believe that.
I saw this graphic, and you know how they always show the box score and they show like the 3 leading, players for each offense, whatever it may be, or like the top 3 players that made an impact.
Right.
So there was a moment where they brought up the graphic card and they showed the score, the box score, Eagles and Commanders. They showed Jalen Hurts stats, they showed Saquon Barkley stats, and they showed AJ Brown stats, right?
Right.
Well, you might be able to find it here. But when they pulled it up on the screen, right? For some reason, when they pulled up Jalen Hurts' numbers, tell me why they put his passing yards, they put his completion and attempts, right? Tell me why they only put 1 touchdown on there.
1 passing touchdown. They didn't count the running.
Just 1 punch. This 1 passing touchdown. Just 1.
I don't see it on this clip.
But he had 4. He had 4 touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns. But they put 1 touchdown on there. And it wasn't like it was a space issue. All you had to put was 4 total touchdowns.
Huh.
I pay attention to the details when I watch these shows, man. And I'm like, oh, I see what y'all doing here. I see what y'all doing here. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
crazy.
You can always tell when the graphics guy don't like the Eagles too. You can always tell.
You already know. They get their orders from somebody too. Donnell Shipley says, bros, you know what the media wanted us to lose so that the Chiefs would beat the Commanders in the Super Bowl and win the 3rd straight. That's why they was pushing Washington to win.
They wanted a sweet ride. Nah. This ride ain't gonna be sweet. This ride ain't gonna be sweet. This ride ain't gonna be sweet. Nah, they following through. They got to see us again. We need our lick back. And let's be honest, that Buffalo defense has been suspect all year.
All year.
So they've been suspect all year. This will be the toughest defense the Chiefs play all year.
Yo, I don't know if y'all checked me out when my boy Jason Dunn was on. Jason played here in Philly for 4 years, and then he played it with the Chiefs for 8 years. So he rocks with both teams, but he really rocks with the Chiefs. But we went to college together, so that's my boy. So we was on each other's podcast, and I told him, I said, Kansas City needs to attack DeMar Hamlin because DeMar Hamlin cannot run. He is not a good. He's just not fast enough.
I'm gonna be honest.
He got exposed.
Can I be
big time?
Can I be controversial a little bit?
I already know where you're going.
Can I be controversial? Hey, chat. Can I be a little controversial a little bit, as it pertains to DeMar Hamlin, y'all? Can I be a little controversial, chat? Are y'all okay with me being a little crass? I'm curious, y'all. Just let me know. Pat Ryan said do it.
All right, lay it on us.
Listen, man. DeMar Hamlin's a charity case, bro. He's a charity case, bro. He obviously, he almost died on the field. His story is really big. He's been traveling the country, spreading awareness about, what do they call them? Is it defibrillators or whatever it is? Like whatever the cardiac, it's something like that.
Yeah.
But but he's not a good football player. I'm sorry. Like he's the only reason he's on that roster is because they know.
You know what? I'm not gonna go that far because
All
he's
right,
good enough to be there.
he a good special teamer. He is a special teamer at best.
Well, here's what I'll say. Because I'm not gonna disagree with you because that's your opinion. However, comma, you could probably say that about somebody on every team in the NFL for sure.
Fair enough.
For sure.
Fair enough.
So and I got to look at it in the macro. He got toasted against Kansas City, but I'm sure at some point in the year he made plays. So
every time I've seen him, he ain't been making a play. The play been made on him.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he was, he got toasted against Kansas City, and I said it because he might be. You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Bradbury last year. 22 Bradbury was solid.
Oh, hold on, wait. That sounds worse than what I said.
22 Bradbury was solid, and then all of a sudden in 23 it looked like he was running in mud every time he was on the field. Like his legs just stopped. I don't know what that was.
Oh my God! You know what?
What? That joker gonna hang around and get another crack at the Super Bowl. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him. Cabasa de Fogo.
Hey, listen, DeMar, keep getting your money, man. Keep getting your money, DeMar.
The Chiefs are just mid, and we're gonna show the world the truth in 2 weeks. Big facts, Cabasa.
Mm-hmm. Listen,
big facts.
I think the Chiefs. Listen, I think the Chiefs' defense was better last year than it is now.
Agreed. I mean, Chris Jones is still Chris Jones, though.
He is, but I feel like they're very inconsistent with stopping the run. And also another thing too, right? When you think about when we played them last time, did you know our running backs between Kenny Gainwell and Miles Sanders, they only accounted for 14 carries, less than 70 yards or less than 50 yards, something like that. It was like they were non-factors in the game. Jalen Hurts led the team in carries and rushing yards. That's not going to be the case this time.
No.
I don't think they have an answer for Saquon Barkley.
Well, I agree. However,
a consistent answer.
However, if there's anybody that can figure out that puzzle, it's Spags. Because Spags, I would put Spags above Vic. Spag knows his stuff. That joker knows how to dial up a blitz. That joker knows how to disguise a blitz, stunt a blitz. He's in his bag. So it is going to be incumbent upon Kellen Moore to have our shit together when it comes to blitz pickup, because he is going to bring the noise. Because I think he knows that we do have the better roster. So he's gonna have to pull a rabbit out of his ass.
Yeah, but he's
pulling out Kansas City. You know they known for pulling out all the stops.
So what do you do? Like, you just gonna sell? See, here's the thing. Here's my thing, right? I hear you, and trust me, I got a lot of respect for Spags. I know what he's capable of, but in my mind is for 4 quarters, what you gonna sell out and stop the run? Like, what are you going to be able to consistently do? I just have a hard time believing they can consistently keep this offense at bay. I just have a hard time believing that.
Yeah, but think about it. You don't have to. All you got to do is prevent the big plays.
Interesting.
He's the type of guy that can do that. The same way we can grind you down and do what we got to do, and eventually we force turnovers. That's the type of, he's got that type of pedigree. Now, again, I still think we have the better defense, and I still think it's a good matchup, our offensive line versus their defensive line. Which
is better if you had money on it?
Honestly, I would have to say Kansas City because of the way we played the last couple of weeks. Because I look at Chris Jones still Jordan Mailata, you gotta have a stellar game. Then we got two of our starters with injuries. Dickerson got a knee injury. Cam Jurgens got a back injury. Yes, they will be ready to play by the Super Bowl, but will they be 100%? The fact that you have to ask that question is a problem.
Fair enough.
Then you got, isn't Vea still there?
Who?
Vea in the middle?
Vea. That's Tampa Bay.
Is that Tampa Bay? Okay, you're right.
Yeah. Vita Vea is Tampa Bay.
Who's that nose guard?
KC runs a 3-4.
Who's Kansas City's nose guard?
I didn't know Kansas City had a nose tackle.
Well, it all depends on how they line up.
That's true. So you anticipate them?
I mean, I'm saying all this to say,
right?
If anybody can come up with a scheme to contain Saquon Barkley, it's Spagnuolo. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough, but then also it comes down to they got to execute.
Correct.
And they got to and they got to make tackles, and you know it's going. You know, look, I know Spag is going to come up with his best game plan. I have no doubt about that. You know, I just look at this Eagles team and the way they're playing, the way they're humming, like just how much they're just leaning on guys. And listen, like I just think we're more prepared this time. I think we're more prepared this time. I just feel like there's nothing they're going to do to really shock us this time. It's just about executing. I firmly believe that, Marcus.
It is. I think as far as our defense, we got Oren Burks. You got to be on point because somebody got to stop Travis Kelce. And
that's going to be the challenge.
And they have figured out that they want to get Xavier Worthy involved. He is a problem with what they're doing.
That speed,
yes, he is. All of them jet motions we running with Dallas Goedert. Well, they got a 4-1-2 guy that's doing the same type of plays, and we got to be able to put hands on. We have to. So when you get that type of speed, you gotta play your spaces right. But having said all of that, they struggle with Buffalo. Buffalo put 29 on them.
Yeah, and I mean, when we played them in the Super Bowl, we still put up 35 points on them.
Absolutely.
Like still.
So we gotta,
you know what I mean?
We gotta get it. You know, Kellen Moore gotta open up that playbook, man. Don't leave one of the pages empty, bro.
From the 2022 Super Bowl to this 2025 Super Bowl, who would you argue has improved more from the last time we played them to this time? Who do you think has improved more?
Well, obviously the Eagles, because we went from worst to first.
But I'm talking from comparing the 2022 run as far as how we looked in that game personnel wise in comparison to KC personnel wise in that game, and then you compare us now.
Oh, I would say the Eagles.
Okay.
Because our defense as big of numbers that we put together in 22. All of them sacks we had in 22 didn't mount to a hill of beans in the Super Bowl. Now, yes, it was because of the turf and all of that type of stuff, but they was getting through and getting pressures. And why couldn't we do the same thing? So, you know, that's not going to be an issue this year because we down in New Orleans. So that won't be an issue. So I'm expecting our defense to perform better with no excuses. Because when we watched that game, that was frustrating.
And we're not sacriline. We're not sacriline this year.
That was frustrating to the point where, you know, especially when you saying, man, if we would have had a good turf surface, you know, somebody would have got home. You know, Josh Sweat would have got a sack. Hassan would have got in there or something. That's what we were saying. But we just making excuses.
That's true.
So now I think we have evolved a lot more, and for our defense to be playing like we're playing, to not have Fletcher Cox, to not have Hassan Reddick, for BG to be gone earlier in the season, and we still doing the things, and the number one defense in the NFL means something. Defense still wins championships. So Chris Jones is still a beast. However, the rest of that roster, they got some holes and they got some chinks in the armor. And we got to be able to take advantage of. Because I'm thinking this game, depending on how much Jalen puts it in the air, depending on what they do with Saquon Barkley, this game is going to be a Devontae Smith game.
Interesting.
This
You know what?
I'm
And
telling you.
they're weaker at corner this year.
Yes.
They don't have whatchamacallit, L'Jarius Sneed anymore.
And who do you think they're going to be concentrating on?
AJ Brown.
Correct. So this is going to be a Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert game. AJ still going to get his targets. But this will be one of those games where Devontae might have 6 or 7 catches for close to 100 yards, if not more. Because Devontae is good at catching that ball across the middle and breaking a couple tackles, or, it all depends on how it flows, man. But they're going to have something together for Saquon. And that means that we're going to have to go up top to AJ. So we're going to test them waters early to see what they're going to do against Saquon, because I still haven't had a chance to watch tape yet. But I got to look at what are they linebackers playing like. That's why I can't wait to get on with my boy Jason Dunn again. It's like, what your linebackers looking like? How are they playing in the secondary? I ain't been able to answer those questions yet, but I got 2 weeks worth of tape to watch to get ready for this game.
No, I feel you. I feel you on that. I'm about to look up. I'm looking at Kansas City's, and look, stats don't tell the whole story. I want to make that very clear.
Yep.
Stats don't tell the whole story. And film is valuable for a reason. But just to give us a little bit of context, I'm looking at NFL Pro NFL right now, NFL Pro. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm looking at their defensive leaders in terms of passer rating allowed and just what they've done. Right, Nick Bolton, as far as passer rating allowed, right? Let me see here. Okay, all right. Trent McDuffie this season, he's given up an 82.9 passer rating. He's given up 4 touchdowns this season. Justin Reed, their other DB, he's given up a 101.6 passer rating when targeted. Shamari Connor, he's given up a 103.9 passer rating when targeted. That's the other DB.
Right.
Nick Bolton, their linebacker, is giving up a 104.7 passer rating. And then it drops to Drew Tranquil, who's given up an 84.8 passer rating. All I'm trying to say is, look, I know KC is who they are. They got that mystique.
Mm-hmm.
But because
rightfully so.
Rightfully so. But because we played them before, and we know what it's like to be on the other end of that, and you've been that close, I have a hard time. And then also the repeating and how difficult it is.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a lot that the Eagles can take advantage of in this game. We just got to execute and don't put ourselves in a position where the game is decided by Patrick Mahomes' game-winning drive.
Right.
That's my thing, right? Take advantage of your opportunities. Don't let the game be decided on one drive. Fly around. Be more physical. Like you said, don't change your routine. Do what you've been doing. Attack the football. Swarm to the ball. And then 60 minutes later, we're Super Bowl champions. I'm firmly locked in on this thing, man. Like I feel like this is we get our lick back here. We get our lick back.
Yeah. We the way we've been playing. We've been making the big plays when we got to make the big plays. AJ Brown on 4th and 5. The deep ball.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Jalen put it in the exact perfect place.
What was your thoughts on Kellen Moore's game plan yesterday. I loved what he was doing. He was finding creative ways to get the ball in Devontae and got a hand. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fast motion, the jet motion that Dallas Goedert had. Just being selfish. I would love to see those plays. Well, I can't even say that because he did a quick pass to Devontae. He did that twice, I believe, where Devontae does the jet motion. He's in pistol and he just shuffles it forward.
Oh, you shuffles it forward. Yeah.
If he drops it, that's an incomplete pass. So I still hate the wide screens.
They were a little successful yesterday. I ain't gonna lie, that was the most successful I've seen them be all season.
Yeah, but I can't. Of course, I'm gonna say I still want zone reads, off tackle and outside, but I can't bitch about 6 rushing touchdowns, bro. 7 rushing touchdowns.
Seven. Get
it
right. Get it right.
I'm not gonna nitpick about that. And a lot of those were up the middle, like inside the tackle. They were still kind of off tackle, but they were inside. And if you notice and this is what I've been seeing from Saquon, because he scored 3 times that I can remember on the same play. He goes off tackle. He is on Mailata's inside hip. And
he squares
sometimes
up
the DB and that linebacker will crash that gap and he bounces it right outside of him.
He did that on 2 of his touchdown runs. He ran to the right.
He did it in LA.
He did it in LA. Well, against LA.
Against LA. No, against LA in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then he did it against LA at home. And then he did it, I believe it was the same play way back when we played the Saints, where he bounced it out, but he ended up bringing it back to the middle of the field, angling it back to the pylon. But it's the same type of run. He goes right up the kind of the inside shade, the inside leg of the tackle, and then everybody jumps inside, and he keeps his shoulder square, and he bounces right back outside. And then he outruns everybody. And you notice on that first play when he went 60, he spun out of a tackle, then cut it back, and couldn't nobody catch him. He's doing it on the same type of play. So once again, I know they're gonna watch tape and they're gonna be trying to formulate a plan to stop that. So my question is, what else are we gonna dial up? I still think we run too much out of gun formation, but that's just me. But again, I'm nitpicking after we just had 200-something yards rushing and 7 touchdowns in the game and 55 points in the game. Let me shut up and let Kellen Moore continue to cook.
And also, it's not like I know Spags is going to try to blitz Jalen Hurts, and he can get a little exotic with it, but it's not like Jalen Hurts hasn't been getting blitzed all year long. Right. I feel like this year he has responded to the he's having career high numbers in response to the blitz this year. And remember, he's making all of his own line checks this year. Yeah, in that Super Bowl, Kelsey was making them all. Jalen hasn't gotten enough respect and enough love for what he's been doing pre-snap this season.
Absolutely.
Because in my humble opinion, I feel like most plays succeed or fail. Success or failure, in my opinion, is more so defined by the pre-snap than post-snap.
Man, how many times have you heard? I know it's been at least 3 times this season where he's reloaded the same play and Saquon scores.
Yes. He did that on the pitch, the first play.
First play of the game. Absolutely. When he changes the play and he does that thing, reload. That means they're going back to the original play.
Yeah.
And we killing them with it. But that's just the way. That's just the way to screw with the defense. Because I would be surprised if when we go in the Super Bowl, when you hear him say reload, that might not be the code word. They might go somewhere else. So that might be a way to fool the defense to think he's doing something else. It's amazing how much stuff that they come up with. They used to do that stuff in college. Remember in college when you had that time where everybody was holding up pictures of cartoons and Homer Simpson and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff just means package. You know what I mean? He could get up there and say coffee, coffee, coffee. And the rule might be if he says anything that's related to food, that means we're going in the opposite direction. Anything, if he gets up there and says Buick, 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 anytime he says anything that relates to a car, we run in the same play.
What's the craziest language you played the game? So what's the craziest language that you've heard? What's the funniest language that you've been a part of?
Man, I couldn't even remember, man. I remember more of my college stuff than the pro stuff.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I remember when we used to, in college, when we used to call the play, and we used to do this in high school too. If we wanted to flip the play and go to the other side, we get to the line of scrimmage, and he would go railroad, because the railroad crosses.
Okay.
So there's always little buzzwords or code words and all of that type of stuff. I saw a video the other day. I think it was Drew Brees on one of them late shows. And of course, they were asking him, how do you read off all of them plays? And he was like, you got to break it down. When they rattle off all of that verbiage, different things mean different. They're for different people. He might rattle off 30 seconds worth of stuff, but the offensive lineman got to pay attention to the first 5 words. The running backs got to pay attention to, is it left or is it right? And give me a number. If it's left, right, and it's 33 slam or something like that. If it's a 2-digit number, it's a run. If it's a 3-digit number, it's probably a pass. And whether it's an odd or even number will tell you which way you go. If it's odd, you go to the left for pass protection. If it's even, you go to the right. And then he puts the pass patterns in sequential order. Give me a slot fade, Z dig. So that means X, Y, and Z. So slot fade is the X, or slot is the run a slot. Y is the fade. The dig is the Z. Stuff like that. So it all depends on how much you say, and everybody takes their little piece of it, and they know what to do.
Shit.
It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. And I don't think people understand like the stuff that Jalen has to go through. My man, Humble Servant with the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. But for this fact right here, this is a perfect segue into this super chat. Great show, guys. Every Hall of Fame quarterback has had the same system for 3 or more years. Gives them time to master the system. Patrick Mahomes has mastered that system. And Jalen Hurts has not had an opportunity with the same coach for more than 2 seasons.
So to your point, right, about that, because we talked about it earlier. If you're Harry Roseman, you have to see this. You have to notice this at this point. So what can you do? Okay, you see what Vic Fangio has done for your defense, and it's clear that he's made it very clear that this is his last stop, right? He's made it very clear. So if I'm Harry Roseman and I know that my quarterback keeps having to deal with different OCs and it's offsetting his development, you got to go with somebody who's older. You have to.
Well, here's the thing at that. Appreciate you, Humble Servant. Here's the thing with that. And this gets into, is it really Nick's offense? Because you can have an offensive scheme set up. And then when you get a new offensive coordinator, you give the offensive coordinator your playbook and you say, you run this playbook. Because I think that this is still Sirianni's offense.
Guess I was about to say, I think it is Nick's offense, but
Sirianni is just he's not a good play caller. Kellen Moore is better at that. Brian Johnson was better at that, but I think they didn't give Brian Johnson enough respect. So, but that falls into, if they bring in another coordinator, are they coming with their system, or is it still Nick's system? If it's still Nick's system, we okay. And I kind of want to listen, I would not be opposed to having somebody like Eric Bieniemy come in. I know people down on Eric Bieniemy. The only reason I say that is because Jalen Hurts has told you he doesn't mind being coached hard.
Exactly.
And Sirianni don't do that. I don't think it'll ever happen because I don't know if him and Sirianni would get along. But I mean, I'm saying that, but he got along with Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a people person. So, I mean, I'm putting a little bit too much into that, but I wouldn't mind seeing Eric Bieniemy here. Just because Jalen said he doesn't mind an old school, hard-nosed coach. And that might be somebody we can get the best out of him, because you clearly see that Jalen can throw the ball when he needs to throw the ball. And let's not forget, if it wasn't for our absolute collapse, the last 5-6 games of the season, Jalen would have thrown the ball for close to 4,500 yards last year. But they shit the bed so bad, the offense the offense was in tatters.
Yeah, you're right.
So it all depends on if this is really Nick's offense. Is it a mixture? I'm sure they're giving him the playbook, and he say, "Okay, let me put my spin on it." And I think that's the situation that that's what Brian Johnson couldn't do. Brian Johnson couldn't take the offense and put his spin on it. That's what I think the problem was, because I heard somebody on the radio. So I think Tyrone on 97.5 said this, and I had never thought about it until he said it like this. He was like, Sirianni and Jalen Hurts probably did have a problem and wasn't getting along because Sirianni fired his mentor. And I was like, damn, I didn't even think about it like that. I forgot that he used to coach with his father, and he'd been friends of the family for all of that type of stuff. And I was like, damn, I didn't even think about it like that, but he probably right.
Yeah, it probably peeved him because he felt like the problems were deeper than just. Listen, if we're being technical, that was a top 10 offense last year.
Yeah,
but the problem was we couldn't stop anybody.
We couldn't tackle worth shit.
So it overexposed our offense.
Facts.
It overexposed our offense because we couldn't stop anybody defensively. And I want to put something else out there too, right? I'm just getting back to this Eagles KC matchup real quick. You know, I'm kind of doing a little bit of scouting on their offensive line, and you know, obviously their offensive line. You know, they got Joe Thuney and they got Creed Humphrey, who I think are Pro Bowlers in their own right. But their weak points on that offensive line is at left guard and right tackle.
Yeah.
And look, PFF is not the Bible; it's not law, but I'm using it as a reference point. Juwan Taylor has a 59.9 overall PFF grade for his blocking this season. He has a 70.8 pass block grade and a 56.6 run blocking grade. That's Juwan Taylor, their right tackle. Just to put it in perspective, according to PFF, Juwan Taylor, for his overall grade, he's ranked as the 82nd best or worst, however you want to look at it. He's ranked 82nd out of 141 as far as tackles go in the NFL. And then Mike Caliendo, who is their left guard, if I'm not mistaken. He is also compromised. He has an overall PFF grade of 48.9. His pass block grade is 44.8, and his run block grade is 45.6. Mike Caliendo, as far as ranking goes, amongst 135 guards that qualify, he ranks 114th. So Patrick Mahomes, because he's mobile and does what he does, he kind of hides those guys a bit. But Mike Caliendo and Juwan Taylor are compromised. And I see an opportunity for Milton Williams and Jalen Carter to take advantage of that interior where Mike Caliendo is. I also see an opportunity for, if I'm not mistaken, Nolan is typically attacking the right tackle. Right? I'm trying to think. Or because Sweat is normally on
the right
left, the defense's right side, right?
Right.
So Nolan is on the left, the defense's left side. So Nolan may have an opportunity here attacking Juwan Taylor in the Super Bowl. And Nolan has been phenomenal this season, this offseason. Phenomenal.
Well, Nolan Smith is usually on the right.
So, okay, so who's usually – but there's – okay, so when Josh Sweat and Nolan are both on the field – hold on, let me pull up some
Well, sometimes Josh lines up as the tackle. It all depends on –
let me see something. Because I think
it depends on how they coming. Because sometimes Josh Sweat is on the inside of Nolan Smith.
No, you may be – no, you're right. You may be right. Vic got these guys so – he got
all over the place.
Yeah, he got so many different combinations. Let me see something. All right, so Nolan Smith, film room. Let me see. All right, Nolan Smith, because I need to find out where he primarily is.
Most of the times, it'll be Josh and sometimes Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat line up on the same side, but usually they should be opposites. So Josh Sweat would normally be on the left, but I know sometimes Zach Bond will be out there.
Okay.
But was that this weekend? Because I know it was one play.
Okay, I'm looking at the play right now.
Josh Sweat was in coverage.
Okay, so this play I'm looking at right here, it was it's the conference game, right? Yeah, the conference game. Nolan Smith is lined up on the left, Josh Sweat is lined up on the right, and you have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the interior. This was the first play of the game for the defense. So he's on the left side here. Let me try to make sure.
It was not that was scary because he was covering the slot, and I was like, they caught us, but I don't think it was no big play. I don't even remember if it was a complete pass, but yeah, we can't get caught like that because Andy will make you pay for that.
All right, so in the first quarter, he was lined up on the left side. Let me go further deep into the game and see where he was on a little further in the game, just to get more context. So let's just see here on. All right, let's see. Shotgun pass. Let's see what this is looking like now. Okay, this was in the fourth quarter, minute 5:36. Nolan is. Hold on, wait. Now they got him on the hold up.
They move him around.
Now he's on the right side.
Right. You got to think of it like this because
they move Nolan around.
Defense is gonna do the same thing offense does. Depending on, and now we talking about film study and analytics.
Right.
When it's 3rd and 5 in the second quarter, they run this package. They usually have this personnel in the game 45.2% of the time. So if you see this package, or we just gonna play the odds. So on 3rd and 5, this is our lineup. Because the defense is going off the numbers on, they play this personnel package or that personnel package depending on down the distance. So they're going to adjust and they're going to move people around based on what they think the opponent or the offense is going to do.
To your point,
they change it around so nobody can get comfortable with who they block.
To your point, Nolan Smith was it was a 3rd and 5 situation. A 35 situation in the first quarter. Nolan was lined up on the left side in the 3rd and 5 situation. Now, in the 1st and 10 situation, Nolan is lined up on the left side again.
Right.
But again, they move him around. That's the bottom line. Now remember, I don't know if you remember this, but when Hassan and Josh Sweat was here, well, Josh Sweat's still here, but when Hassan was here, he strictly was on the left side.
Right.
And I feel like after a while, that overexposed you. And that could be, I mean, you tell me, set me straight because.
Well, no, because look at it like this. Hassan was different. Hassan had just come off 22-something sacks. Okay. So wherever Hassan wants to play, that's where he plays.
But isn't it fair to say that limits your versatility as a defense by having him, you only can put him in that spot?
Normally, yes, but when you get that type of production, you leave well enough alone. He flipped around a few times, but because I remember when he was with Carolina, he got Jalen Hurts 4 times from the right.
Okay.
But when he was here, everything was on. We had him most of the time on the left, and that's where he did most of his damage.
Let me ask you a question about Hassan. Obviously, he wanted more money, but money aside, do you think he was a player that? Do you think he would fit in Vic Fangio's plans?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hassan Reddick is Nolan Smith, but older and not as fast. Because the good thing about Nolan Smith, he bulked up, he got a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger.
Right.
but he kept his speed. Nolan ran a 4.4 at the combine. 4.4 at his size, a defensive end. Hassan Reddick ran a 4.56. But looking at it from the standpoint of being a defensive end, that is still blazing fast. It's some running backs that don't run 4.5s. So both Hassan Reddick and Nolan Smith are the same type of beast. I think Nolan is just a little bit faster. But Hassan had them hands. That's why his hand play was incredible. If you go back to when he stripped the ball from and knocked Brock Purdy out the game, he was great at slapping them hands off, getting around, bending, and getting that hand up and getting that strip sack.
Deontay just brought up something very interesting. Deontay Lewis, it says, can we assume? You want to put it up on screen real quick? It says, can we assume he buys in, though? He's talking about Hassan. He's talking about Hassan Reddick. One of the rumors that came out about Hassan, and look, this is us not trying to go backwards, but this is us just trying to get a better understanding for Nolan and how he's utilized in the defense. There's this level of buy-in from Nolan Smith that I feel like people around the building felt like Hassan didn't have. I don't know how true that is, but the rumor is Hassan, he just, he wanted to do things how he wanted to do things, and the word around the building is he was sack hunting, and he would sacrifice, gap integrity just to get his sacks or whatever. Again, that's something that you have to see on film and really know and really understand the guy's tendencies, and it's kind of hard to judge a guy's intent,
right?
But
that's fair, but again. But also, here's what you got to look at with Hassan, and this is what I would look at.
Okay,
you got to look at his history and what they did to him in Arizona,
and Carolina,
then what they did to him in Carolina, and now he finally gets to Philly, and they finally let him loose, and he finally reaches his potential. Because my problem with them letting him go was he earned that money. He did everything they asked him to do. He put the numbers together. He was better than Bosa with the 49ers. He should have been Defensive Player of the Year that year. He did everything he needed to do. His stats were good. Still had double-digit sacks every year he played for us.
Yeah.
Then when it was time for his payday, y'all gonna tell him he's not worth it. So I understand where you're coming from.
But this is why I told you the moment we drafted Nolan Smith, I'm telling you, the moment we drafted him, I knew his days were numbered. The moment we drafted him, because he was a carbon copy, carbon copy.
But you got a bird in the hand. So nobody knew that Nolan Smith was going to do this year.
True, but we know Harry Roseman. He likes to get ahead of things. You draft Nolan Smith in the first round.
Correct.
You didn't. Right. It's not like they drafted him in the fourth and he just came on the scene, right?
Right.
You draft him in the first round. You plan on having that man start at some point.
Yeah.
Hassan was only on a 3-year deal. They drafted him the year Hassan was looking for his money, and he still played on the contract.
Yep.
Hobby was already thinking 2, 3, 4 years down the line.
I won't say he screwed it for him, but Josh Sweat.
Bingo. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm willing to bet the Eagles said, because both Josh and Hassan was doing it for the money. I'm willing to bet how we said to both of their parties, both of their representation. Hey, look, this is what we're willing to do. Mm-hmm. Whoever bites first, hey, here you go. And Josh Sweat seems like an easy person to, I don't want to say easy person to negotiate with, but Josh Sweat just strikes me as a guy who is malleable.
I don't think Josh Sweat wanted to upset that apple cart.
And this is something that doesn't get talked about enough either. Remember, Josh Sweat, when he came into the league or prior to, he was one of the most highly touted edge rushers coming out of high school, all that kind of stuff. But then he blew his knee out. And I think his senior year of high school, right? He blew his knee out bad. And he still managed to get on with Florida State. And he was projected at that, in high school, he was projected to be like a first-round talent. But because of the knee, he fell to the 4th round, I think.
Right.
Eagles picked him up. And the Eagles, each and every year, they started him out in a rotational role. They had him on limited snaps. And each year, his snaps would increase. And I think what they did as an organization, as a medical staff, I think they monitored that knee,
load management,
and really put time into that knee as far as getting him right, getting him healthy. And I say all that to say, when you find that much trust in an organization with your body and how they believed in you when they didn't have a reason to, and they paid you before you gave them the season. You feel what I'm saying? They paid him before. Listen, they paid him, Mailata, and Goddard just before the 2022 season started. Remember? Or was it midway through the season? Like they paid them before they really broke out. So
he was in the same situation as Miles.
Exactly. So I'm willing,
and he decided to stay home.
Yeah, and I just feel like Sweat was in a situation where this organization, not only did they take a chance on me, they drafted me. They got my body right.
Yeah.
They understand what I can and can't do physically. Like and you tell me different, right? When
he could have got more money.
He could have.
He could have got more money, but he decided to stay. He went, because remember what I don't know if I was when Miles Sanders left, I remember talking about, does he want to win or does he want the bag? It was he went for the bag.
Right.
And what happened? He ain't sniffing the playoffs.
He ain't sniffed. He hasn't even sniffed the numbers. He hasn't even touched his rookie year numbers.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Josh Sweat was in the same situation, except he played his hand a little bit smarter. He got a little bit more money. He knew he could probably get something else, but he know where his bread is buttered. So he decided to stay home. Hassan Reddick, in my opinion, was in the same exact situation as CJ Gardner-Johnson when he went back to Detroit. He knew his value. I do not begrudge CJ Gardner-Johnson doing what he did, because he played it. He was tied for the league in interceptions that year. He balled out.
He did.
So he took his shot for his money. I ain't mad at that. Now, he grossly miscalculated what he thought he was going to get, because what he ended up getting with Detroit, he could have got here.
Exactly.
But I don't know what, but like you said before, what was he asking? So he shot his shot. Howie said no. And because of that, we got to keep Slay. Because if you remember, when that happened,
Slay was supposed to go to Baltimore.
Slay was packing.
He was packing.
Slay was on, I remember it, because Slay was on Twitter saying his goodbyes.
Sure was.
And then the next day he was like, man, this has been a crazy 24 hours. One day I was packing. And then this year it came out, the story came out, Dom pulled him aside and talked with him and all of that type of stuff happened. But this was all about CJ Gardner-Johnson not changing his deal and going to Detroit. Because after that, they had to sign Slay, or we really would have been out.
And they had to sign Bradbury, because I think if I firmly believe if GJ would have signed, Bradbury would have been walking.
Would have been out. They'd have paid him off and made the cut.
That's
now he's probably the most expensive backup we got.
Exactly. So look, the bottom line is, look, we say all this to say, right? This defense and what they've been able to accomplish, and you got a bunch of young guys on rookie deals, and the amount of foresight that Howie Roseman had to have, the amount of risk he took with this defense, is it. Listen, man, it's deserving of being admired. The risk he took. You trade Hassan Reddick, you lose Fletcher Cox, and you managed to replace that production somewhat with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. Look, Nolan Smith didn't have a Hassan Reddick type of year, but I feel like Nolan Smith is better in the run game.
Yeah, I agree.
He sets the edge way better. And his sacks, although not double digit, but timely, and he's getting he's gotten better as the season's gone.
He's understanding more. And to me, right now, Nolan Smith understands what he can and can't do and what he should and shouldn't do. And right now, he's figured out how to use his speed when he lines up that extra step wide and he's so far outside that when that tackle takes that drop step, he still can't get to him. And he's fast enough to line up ultra wide and still can get home. That's how he got that sack on Jaden Daniels.
And that's another thing. I noticed that in that game. They have him lined up so wide. You don't have a guy out that wide if you don't believe he can cover the ground.
Exactly. And that's where for all them people that watch the combine, that is why when they run the 40-yard dash, that's why they have a clock at 10.
10-yard split.
They have a clock at 20, and then they the one at 40. They want to see how fast you can go from sideline to sideline in the interior. That 10-yard split is for the big guys. So it's
in that 10-yard split, I'm sure. I mean, I would imagine that also measures like how explosive you are.
Exactly.
That short range speed.
Exactly.
Because it just seems like Nolan, once he get going, he gets faster. It's crazy.
He does, because his momentum gets kicked in. But for somebody like him and big guys in general, it's all about your turnover. How fast can you reach your top speed? When you run track and you coming out the blocks, they want to figure out how fast you can reach your top speed, right? Nolan Smith has got a good get off. Big Jordan Davis. Remember, Jordan Davis ran a 4.7 at his size. But if you remember last year, there was that one play, I forget what game it was, where he hawked the quarterback down, pushed him out of bounds.
That was the Bills game.
But he was spent.
He was never the same after that game.
Never the same. He was spent. So this now, when you even look at his sack, Jordan Davis done dropped weight. Shout out to Seth Joyner because he said this. If he dropped some weight, he was going to be a force to be reckoned with. And the good thing about Jordan Davis knows his role. He knows his role.
He accepts it graciously. Like, to take it a step further, because conditioning was a problem all the way around for that defensive line. But for them to come back this season and Jalen Carter is playing, for the sake of argument, 78 out of the 80 snaps, 68 out of the 70 snaps. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That is insane for somebody to play at that volume and and still have the same level of intensity and effectiveness. And also, I think Fangio and Clint Hurt figured out how to use Jordan Davis as well. I think they figured out the sweet spot in his snaps and also matchup dependent as well.
Coach Hurt ain't getting enough. We ain't talking about him.
He's not getting enough credit. He's not getting enough credit for what he did with them boys on the D-line. He's not getting enough credit.
We are not talking about him enough. And this goes all the way back to when he had to shut Sirianni down when Jalen Carter was screwing up. And he was like, I got this. And once again, that kind of leans into Sirianni having everybody on the same page. And for people that don't know, it ain't always sunshine and butterflies on that sideline. You cussing folks out.
Yeah.
You calling them out their name. But at the end of the day, you just trying to make the guy next to you better. And everybody knows that. So even though it seems like it's heated, that's why when all this shit happened with A.J. Brown, all of that type of stuff, yeah, it's like that happens every damn day, every day.
And I also believe, see, I grew up in a household where we put everything on Front Street. Ain't no secrets in this thing. So I understand how the Eagles move as a team, as an organization. Like, for me, at least, what I see is a team that has open door policy on any and everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Clint Hurt.
Everybody don't have that.
Hey, coach, I got you. I got him. I hear, coach, I understand. I know he messed up, but I got him. Trust me.
Yeah.
You know, Sirianni, to me, some people will, the national media will label that as dysfunction, and the Eagles don't have a hierarchy or a pecking order. Like they had this weird, perspective on how defensive on how these sidelines or how these coaching staffs are running. Most of the people with the opinions are people who never even played the game.
Exactly.
So my thing is, right, what I see is a team that respects their coach, but at the same time, I see a coach who empowers the people around him. That's what I
because
see.
everybody doesn't have that. It's not necessarily an open door policy, but I understand your point. And that's the easiest way to understand it. But even if you have an open door policy, that don't mean everybody gonna come through your door. Nor do they want to.
Yes, that's a good point.
So the fact that Sirianni has this team the way they are right now is saying a hell of a lot. A whole hell of a lot. Even going back to just look at the scene with Fletch and Ertz. That's the type of situation they got right now in the locker room as it sits today.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, all of that crap they talked about Sirianni. This is why you want a CEO coach. This right here. This is why you want a CEO coach.
And you can't tell me, you can't tell me you don't make it this far without this team respecting that man.
Correct.
You don't. I'm sorry. You don't.
And that's the key. Because look at what's going on in Dallas. That man has got an uphill battle because it don't sound like nobody in Dallas. He's a legacy.
He's a what do you not only a legacy, but he's just what do you call it?
Been there forever. He's a safe bet.
What do you call it when somebody is just a face? Like they're a totem or they're
a place marker.
Yeah, he's just a figurehead. He's just a figurehead. Yeah. He's not really calling the shots.
He's somebody that Jerry Jones can manipulate how he wants to manipulate.
And I think Mike McCarthy ultimately, because they wanted him back actually. Yeah, Mike McCarthy was like, "Yeah, I'm good.
I'm out.
I'm good. I tried it. I did it. I'm good. I'm good."
It's you know what's funny? Jerry Jones, his little part on Landman, he did the damn thing on that, his little scene on that show, right? But it's funny, all he talked about was all of the business he did so he could work with his kids, and he don't let his kids work. Stephen Jones is 60, and he still don't have the final say for that organization. That's the problem with the Cowboys. Stephen Jones, I remember Stephen Jones had to be like 20, 25, 30 years old when you first started seeing him. And I know, Jerry Jones wants his son to take over. I'm like, dude, your son is 60 and you still calling the shots and having damn press conferences. The owner ain't supposed to have press conferences. We don't give a damn what you got to say.
He has a radio show, bro. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Next thing you'll be with Skip Bayless on damn YouTube.
All I know is these Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man.
They're going to face off with the Kansas City Chiefs, the rematch that we've all been waiting for. No greater opportunity to slay the dragon. It's funny. Yeah. We're going to win 2 Super Bowls, taking out 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time. Beautiful sight. Nobody can ever question our legitimacy because we're going to have 2 Super Bowls. We're going to have 2 Super Bowls in the tuck where we knocked off Tom Brady, who played his best Super Bowl ever, and we knocked them all. And we're going to win the Super Bowl beating Patrick Mahomes. What organization, what team can say 2 of their Super Bowls or any of their Super Bowls, they had a chance to take out the GOATs?
Only one.
So all I'm saying is, listen, man, on that note, man, Markus, we covered a lot of ground today, brother.
We covered a lot of ground. We've been rocking and rolling for 2 hours, bro.
Yeah,
2 hours,
and it didn't feel like it. I just looked up and I was like, I looked up, I was like, oh, shoot, wifey probably like, damn, where the hell he at? Because normally my shows be an hour and a half. You know how we get down. You know how we be, but no, yeah, it didn't even feel like it, bro. Like honestly, like I could talk shop with you all day, bro.
Yeah, man. I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. The chat has been on fire.
Definitely, man. Listen,
make sure you
smash that like button, like button, you guys, get active.
Button. If you subscribe to Tone, roll on over to Pro Fan Talk and subscribe. If you subscribe to Pro Fan Talk, roll on over to Chalk It Up Sports and subscribe. We're gonna be having content about the Super Bowl every day for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, man. We putting it out there, man. And listen, Pro Fan Talk, my man, Coach Markus at Pro Fan Talk. You guys clearly hear the football knowledge, the football acumen. His football Rolodex is through the roof. This guy deserves way more subscribers, way more love than he gets. And I know you guys show love. That's why you guys are here. But for those of you guys who are new to the fold, for any of you guys that are subscribed to me, make sure you guys subscribe to my man at Pro Fan Talk. Coach Markus does a phenomenal job covering your Philadelphia Eagles. I promise you this. Former NFL player, played on the college level. I mean, he's played on every single level. Understands the game in a real way. He's not emotional about this thing like I am. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys lock in with my guy, Coach Markus at Pro Fan Talk. Please go subscribe to the coach at Pro Fan Talk. Please go subscribe to Pro Fan Talk.
Hey, real quick. Hold on.
Man, you guys are great, man. Just make sure you guys smash that like button. You guys have really been phenomenal today, man.
Next week, phenomenal. I done had this sitting on the shelf for a while. Next week, I'm gonna get this away.
Ooh, I got some more giveaways too. Yo, listen, man. I did my giveaways early in the season. I got a jersey I want to give away. This
will be my first giveaway, and this is the classic Kelly Green. This is the 1992 Pro Bowl edition. Ooh. Kelly Green Eagles joint. This is the one that Randall Cunningham wore back in the day.
That's clean.
So I will be giving this away next week.
That's it. Listen.
Right, so stay tuned. This will be my first giveaway. So I'm trying to find the right way to do it where I can pick a number, or if we got a lot of people on the stream, we'll just pick somebody out the stream. Something I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, what I do
somebody gonna get this snapback.
Maybe what I do is, I don't know if this will help, but what I typically do is I basically drop the email for the channel, chalkitupsports52@gmail.com. I drop the email and I say, listen, you guys email me your first and last name, your mailing address, and the code word. I put up a code word throughout the show. Right. And I say, email me your first and last name, your mailing address with the code word, and you enter for a chance to win. And then when the show's over, I have the opportunity to go through the emails and pick somebody at random or whoever I deem fit. So that's kind of how I do it.
All right. I'll figure something out.
Yeah, for sure. Just an idea for sure. Just an
idea.
Right.
I'll holler at you about that. Stay on when we close out, and we'll hammer some more of that stuff out for a minute.
I got you, bro.
All right. We're gonna get up out of here, man. We've been rocking and rolling for over 2 hours, man. It was fire. Like I said, every day to the Super Bowl come. And then we're going to be down on South Street, Broad Street, down at the Art Museum. Let's get it done, man. I want to go back there and take more pictures, sitting with the alumni holding the trophy. I want to do that again. That was fun, and I want to do it again, man. So we gonna keep it rolling, man. So I appreciate y'all joining us. Pro Fan Talk, Tone at Chalk It Up Sports. We're going to keep doing this thing, and we're going to get up out of here. And as usual, go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. 9 guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, here to